What is up, everyone? Here for another Miami Dolphins season. It's finally game week 1 of the NFL season. I'm here joined by my guy, Jacoby. Welcome back, Jacoby. How's it going?
It's going good, dude. I'm stoked to be on for a third straight year with you. God, that 2023 season when we started this feels like a lifetime ago, dude. And I'm stoked. I fell out halfway through the year last year, so I expect to be here the rest of the season. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Dude, I'm freaking excited. Listen, you mentioned the 2023 season. I mean, we were at the highest of highs and then the lowest of lows, bro, just like that, which is just freaking crazy. But I'm glad we can make things happen. And you know what? It's another year, man. So it's now time to judge this Dolphins team on this year as best as we can. And let's start things off. I want to hear your thoughts about the entire offseason because we haven't talked all offseason. Now the Dolphins made some moves, a little bit strategic about certain things. I thought they drafted well. But what are your likes and dislikes with the way the Dolphins handled this offseason?
So, I've been vocal with you, wasn't here at the recap, but there was no way you could have convinced me that they were going to run this thing back with both Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. I'm still at a loss for words that neither one of them lost their job. So that kind of set the tone for the entire offseason. I put all my expectations away because I quite frankly have seen enough of this duo. I don't think this duo has the competency to get it done. So I don't think there was some terrible moves this offseason, but overall, I think it was too quiet, especially in a division that has the Buffalo Bills in it. And I feel like you now have the worst coach in the division, and I think that goes a long way, no matter how bad the rosters are in the AFC East. I think good coaching goes a tremendous way, and to be honest with you, I'm like right in the middle. Don't know how to feel about it, but I just want to see this team be competitive. I need to see a culture change. They're talking about it already, but time's going to tell. But wasn't too satisfied with this offseason. I just simply don't think it was enough.
All right, I'm gonna respect that. I'm gonna pivot though. To be honest with you, I actually think that the Dolphins' approach to this offseason was honestly something that I haven't seen in years, which is actually a vision. And what I mean by that is we didn't see those home run deals like like a Jalen Ramsey and these big splashes. But what you saw was that this team and Chris Greer especially looked like they said, you know what? I've learned from some mistakes. I'm going to stop throwing money early to people that don't deserve it. And I'm going to kind of reset, which he did mention in his press conference. I'm going to go with these 1-year deals. I'm going to go with these, low risk, high reward situations by signing a Rasul Douglas, signing a Matthew Judon, and kind of drafting. To be honest, I thought he drafted pretty well over the last couple seasons. Patrick Paul looks like he's been making a big storyline in preseason. They added some depth to the offensive line, adding Jonah, signing James Daniel, which is also helping the offensive line. And honestly, obviously, like you said, it remains to be seen. We need to see actions. They're just talking about culture change. But you are seeing some of these things where players are staying late after practice. You're seeing Tua being more vocal about, how he feels about Tyreek and situations like that. And also Tyreek not being voted as captains. And those are voted by his peers. So the fact that the locker room itself said, nah, we're not voting Tyreek Hill, and they all kind of stood on that. I mean, it was something special to see. And I do like that at the end of the day, this team does have a vision where we're not thinking about, damn, like, how are we going to get off on this contract? The only question mark is from that part is Tyreek Hill. Is he going to be moved or what? That seems to be like kind of like that cancer in the locker room right now that's going on. But I think if a deal does present itself at some point in the season and it's good enough, they're either going to move on from him at the deadline or at the end of the next year. But what's good is that there is a vision for this Dolphins team moving forward that I'm satisfied with. What are your thoughts on Tyreek Hill, man?
Yeah, no, I just want to, clarify on you. I think everything you said makes perfect sense. And you know me, and for the guys that watch this show, I need to see the results. I can't just hear the stories. I can't just hear oh, this is happening. This is happening. I need to see the results. I need to see these teams come out, and this team would come out and play with a chip on their shoulder against these tough teams. But like everything you said, I think it's completely justified, and I think it's a good point. And what we're gonna see now. Moving on to Tyreek Hill, I'm really really shocked he's here. I didn't think he was going to be a part of the team, especially with how the front office and the head coach's approach to him quitting on the team last year. They kind of just brushed it off like nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, they're not even wasting energy because he's not a part of the picture. Like, that's exactly what I thought. So, I think what you said about him not being voted as captain, awesome. Stop giving it to these guys that don't, that are just free willing, do whatever they want, especially setting a bad example off the field. We hear Tyreek Hill's in name in the news, I feel like, all the time. So like I just feel like that was, definitely a good shift, something new that we're used to seeing, like not these just guys that just talk. So I think that was really good to see. But if you want my overall opinion, I'm at a loss for words that he's a part of this program or this team still. I didn't think there was a single chance he'd be here this year. So I was pretty shocked.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm pretty shocked as well. I mean, one thing I will say, and I've been very vocal about this, and I'm going to be honest with you, Tyreek Hill is the best player on our football team, 100%. This offense and this team will go as far as Tyreek Hill takes them, and especially Tua in particular. We know that Tua's success has been because majority of it, obviously he has improved year to year, but majority of his success has come with Tyreek Hill being available on that football field alongside with him. But this is how I feel, man. When you quit on the team, I don't have room for that, man. Like, I really don't. I think that's just inexcusable, man. Like, one thing I just can't condone is a quitter in my locker room, to be honest. And that's exactly what Tyreek Hill did last year, taking himself out the game. And I've heard the talk where it's like, okay, the season was over, Denver was winning, and he was injured, but he could have at least said something, right? He could have at least told the guys, hey, I'm dealing with this injury or something like that. No, he just walks off the field, and then he doubles down and says what he says to the media, saying, I'm out of here, I want out, and all of this stuff. And then he went ahead on Twitter and said the same thing. It's like that was a total disrespect to the Dolphins organization, the players in that locker room, and as a slap in the face of the fan base who supported this guy for all the tough times that he's been through. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I just can't believe that they brought him back. But you know what? Now that he is back, it's time to look at it from a different picture. Either Tyreek Hill is going to ball the hell out and try to put himself in position to get another contract, whether it's with this team or another team, and the Dolphins have to look at that. So the value can go up at the trade deadline, or they can cut ties with him at the end of this year where it makes more sense with the money at the end of the day. But I'm with you, man. I'm shocked that Tyreek Hill is back. And I'm also shocked the way Mike McDaniel, kind of let it slide in a way. And I know, I mean, we're going to touch on Mike McDaniel in just a sec. Actually, let's get to that right now, man. Mike McDaniel, what do you want to see from him this year? And how do you think he handled that Tyreek situation?
Well, that was my main issue with the whole thing. I feel like it got to that point because of the soft culture the Miami Dolphins have. We heard, like, it's no coincidence that a lot of players that got out of here this year throw shade at the coaching staff. Like, it's not a coincidence. And I feel like, Tyreek Hill was just allowed any antic and whatever he wanted to do. And, we heard the rumors, like he was amongst one of the players that was late to practice all the time, showing up whenever. There was this team, never any repercussions, no standards. And I think Mike McDaniel handled it poorly. I would have loved to have seen a fine. I know it was the last game of the season, so probably would have seen an suspension, but I would have loved to see something. Like, I don't feel like they addressed it at all. Just get up in front of the microphone and hold your damn player accountable. Like,
Yeah.
we've seen it before with several other coaches. Like, I don't care. Like, if he doesn't want to play with you after you say something, then he doesn't need to be here. So I would have loved to have seen him 100% hold him accountable into the public eye, to show him that, I got a grip on this team. This team knows I don't tolerate that shit. I would have loved to have seen that, but of course we don't. We don't see that at all from him. And that's something I want to see this year. That brings me exactly to what I want to see. I want to see an extreme culture shift. I want to see this team have standards that need to be met. And I want to hear Mike McDaniel not sugarcoating shit all the time and, emphasizing what he expects from these guys day in and day out, and that he's not going to tolerate anything less. I want to see that. And I just feel like every time he talks to us, gives us any insight, it's just a beat around the bush, a little runoff sentence. I don't understand what the hell I'm hearing all the time. So that's all I want to say. And the ability to just adjust, I those are the two biggest things I want to see from this season. I want to see him put his foot down and be assertive. There's no question the IQ's there. There's no question he's got his genius moments as a coach. But you're nothing if you can't establish a culture. So that's exactly what I need to see this year.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I want to see the same thing, but unfortunately, I really don't have hope. I don't have hope in Mike McDaniel being able to do that, because I just feel like at this point, listen, man, you are who you are, bro. Like, if you condone and let that stuff slide, you are who you are. If you're not a physical team and you're more of a finesse team, you are who you are. I think at this point, honestly, I already know who Mike McDaniel is. Now I want to know, all right, are you going to give us wins? Because that's what matters. Are you going to get us wins? Are you going to get us a playoff win? Or are you going to do those things? And that's what I want to see. I want to see this team be able to, get 10 wins or more and win a playoff game. That has to be the bare minimum that you have to do, or else it's time to go and look somewhere else. And I think that the Dolphins are in position to, if it doesn't work, give Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill and this roster a chance. And like I mentioned, they didn't tie themselves to any extra money to long-term guys in other areas. So it's kind of like, this is the year where we're going to get the answers we want. Are you going to be able to show us a culture change? Are you going to be able to show us something going forward so we're able to commit to you? Or if not, we're going to move on to the next thing. And there's going to be no issue with them, because you have an excellent candidate right next to him in Anthony Weaver, who's done a tremendous job as defensive coordinator to take Mike McDaniel's position if it's time for him to go. And you can move on from Tyreek Hill and look forward from that. So we want results at the end of the day. We want a playoff win at the end of the day. And honestly, one thing I will say is that I'm glad with the approach of Greer this offseason. For once in his life, I feel like there is a hot seat that is serious right now with Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill. And I also feel like there's a vision for us to pivot and go another way if things go to hell. So, I mean, you gotta admit that, right?
No, yeah, I definitely can. And I will give credit where credit's due. It's just, for me, it's all about the bigger picture. I want sustainable success. I want a direction. So at least he's admitting it, right? Like you said,
Exactly.
At least Greer came out and said, yes, we are in the midst of a reset. I'm okay with that. Perfectly fine with that. So I will give credit where credit's due. It's just, for me, I have trouble settling with seasons where you're not too sure of your direction yet. It can go either way. Some people are fine with that. Me personally, it's been so long. I want to build towards something sustainable. And if it's not, then we need to, like, for me, it's like completely tear it down. So for me, it's tough to be stuck in the middle, but I will give credit where credit's due. At least he's being upfront about it. And you're right. We do have a way to pivot. So it's better than nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's talk about Colts week now, the moment we've all been waiting for. So you got the Dolphins taking on the Colts. Week 1, Xavier Howard is playing for the Colts. This is his revenge game that he's so freaking excited about. And Jacoby, tell me your thoughts on this Indianapolis Colts team as the Dolphins head in to try to get a victory in week 1.
There's a sour taste in my mouth from the Colts game last year. They just hung in it the entire time. The defense got them all the stops in the world, and they just couldn't get it done. So I'm ready to go in there and just flip the script. And the Dolphins have magic on week 1 the last few years, dude. There's been some crazy week 1 games for us. So I'm excited for it. I don't even want to think about an Xavier Howard revenge game, because that's just the BS that Miami always deals with. But I'm excited for it. I think it's a good first week matchup for Miami for sure.
I'm excited for this one as well, man. I think the Colts are a good football team. I was just looking before we started, and the Colts are actually the favorite in this game. I know they're at home. I was a little bit surprised, but I I could kind of see it because of home, and I think this team's kind of are evenly matched, as weird as it is to say. Daniel Jones at quarterback, I mean, that's obviously, he's not good, but everything else around them, they have a nice, nice safeties there. They have a nice front four that could generate pressure. They just drafted Tyler Warren, who's a tremendous tight end that it looks like he's going to be. They do have some young cornerbacks. That's why they signed Xavier Howard out there, because they don't feel too comfortable about that. But they seem like they have a solid team. But and obviously Jonathan Taylor, can't forget about him. But Daniel Jones, man, what's your thought on Daniel Jones getting that start over Anthony Richardson?
It was quite a shock, especially with a team that's trying to identify their long-term solution at quarterback. I just don't see Daniel Jones being the answer. But I'm a firm believer in, if you win the job in the preseason, you deserve to start. So, the Colts definitely didn't see something they liked out of Richardson, and Richardson has had his moments too of quitting on the team. So, it wasn't too much of a whoa, this is insane. It was just like, wow, is Anthony Richardson this unmotivated to win the quarterback job? Like this is his job, this is his team. So it was just like a head scratcher, I'd say, for sure. Now, do I think Daniel Jones has turned a page and he's like this revamped player that we didn't see in New York? I don't want to say that. So I still think Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones, and Miami simply needs to take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy who I don't think anything has changed from his time in New York to his time in Indianapolis. I think that's a guy who obviously can get you with his legs a little bit, can hit some throws here and there, but overall, I mean, when pressure is getting to him, I mean, he tends to turn the ball over quite a bit, and that's one thing that works in the Dolphins' favor, because we talk about, the best part of our team is probably our front four, with Chop Robinson, Kenneth Grant, Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips, and mixing in Bradley Chubb and Matthew Judon in there. I think it's going to be key for that front to really generate pressure, to cause havoc for Daniel Jones to be able to commit those turnovers. But you talk about that matchup last year, man. And I was looking at the stats, and we actually dominated them running the football, man. Achan had a freaking great game, averaged 5.1 yards per carry, and there was no Tua there. But ultimately, a loss that definitely still haunts us. But what do you think about this Dolphins running game? You got now Jalen Wright obviously had a procedure done. You're going with Ollie Gordon as the running back too. Achan dealing with the calf injury that's been limited. People are a little bit scared that could lead into an Achilles injury. How comfortable are you with this Dolphins run game heading into this matchup?
Yeah, honestly, I hope they take the precautions needed for Achan. I don't know how many times we've seen it the last year or so where these calf injuries explode into Achilles injuries. So obviously, I hope they take the proper procedures. But dude, let Gordon eat if he is
Mm-hmm.
going to take the realm. Seeing that guy all preseason was just giving me flashbacks to like the last time we had a power back like Jay Ajayi. I'm like, let this guy eat. I know it's preseason, but that guy was a beast, and I'm excited to see Miami kind of mix him into the offense, take the load off Achan from time to time, because for as explosive and dynamic as Devon Achan has been the last 2 years in Miami, he does have injury concern. Take the workload off him for a bit and let Gordon get in there. There's your goal line runner now. So I'm really comfortable with this running back room. I know they brought back Jeff Wilson on the practice squad. They definitely will have depth there. Hopefully Achan's injury does not escalate anything. It was a good sign that he practiced this week, so that was assuring to see. But this is probably the most excited I've been about this running back room in the last couple of years.
Now, do you think, honestly, I would agree with you. First of all, Ollie Gordon has been tremendous this offseason. In the practices, he wasn't so good, but when it came to those game reps in the preseason, I mean, he showed out. Also catching the football, and like you mentioned, the big body who just doesn't go down after first contact. That's exactly what this Dolphins team has needed. Now it comes to play calling. Now we all have been critical about Mike McDaniel's play calling, not running the ball on second down, running too many screens, setting yourself up for 3rd and 1s and not being able to convert time and time again. It makes me a little scared. But do you think that the run game is the key to success for this Dolphins team this season, or is it a little bit of a mix? Where do you stand with that?
No, I think it plays a vital role. I think we talked about this last season too. I mean, if you can establish a consistent run game, don't be too predictable with it, and use it efficiently, you're going to take the pressure off the passing game and allow the defenses to, that was the thing about Mike McDaniel. He was extremely predictable all season long. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's a huge part of this team's success. If your running game could stay efficient and stay healthy, that will open up quite a bit of opportunities for this offense like we saw a couple years ago. So it's just, do I have the faith that this coaching staff can execute it? Not really. So I'm going to stand firm on that. I said the same thing last year. Yeah, I think that plays a huge role. Plays a huge
Yeah.
role.
You know what? And like I mentioned, man, I give it up on Mike being able to, change his culture and all that. I want to see Mike McDaniel improve from a play calling standpoint. I mean, I am paying close attention to that in particular, more than anything else, more than a culture, more than this, because I think Mike McDaniel is who he is. But is he a better play caller this season while his job is on the line? And I think it starts with that running game. So I'm glad that you touched on that, and I definitely agree with you on that. How about the DBs, man? The cornerback room is probably the room where we have, the most question marks, I would say, more than any other position group. How comfortable are you with the cornerback group? We brought in Jack Jones, we brought in Rasul Douglas, Jason Marshall, which is a rookie who is now going to be guarding the slot. He seems to have made improvements throughout preseason. Where do you stand with these DBs?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like the cornerback room, I think is going to be the most concern for Miami all year, and I think we've known that since the offseason started. And bringing in Jack Jones is definitely a presence. Rasul Douglas is going to help you, but knowing how this organization handles load management and injury concern, are we even going to see Rasul Douglas in the first few weeks of the season? So like that's something I don't have any faith with at all, because knowing Mike McDaniel, like what he's doing with Darren Waller right now, like you're going to see load management in these guys, for a while. So I just feel like we're definitely gonna have the most struggles out of the cornerback room, and they lost Cater Kohu, and Cam Smith is just always gonna have some injury problems that's going on. But I if you wanted my confidence level, it's probably out of 5, 5 out of 10. I really don't know how to feel about it, and I think it's gonna cause the most issues for them on that defense.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the big question mark. But I honestly, I'm gonna put my faith in Anthony Weaver, man. I mean, what he's been able to do, just last season, and having his big guys up front from the front seven. I think they're really gonna be able to make it easier for the DBs. Now, obviously, you're gonna have those tough matchups when you're going against those teams that have the experienced quarterbacks like a Lamar Jackson, who you're going to face this year, Josh Allen. So it's going to be very telling to see where their improvement is, but I'm very interested to see how it goes. And I do like that at the end of the day they gave the opportunity to these young guys like a Jason Marshall Jr. They gave Cam Smith an opportunity. Obviously he wasn't able to succeed in it, but I'm glad that they gave the young guys a nice little offseason to kind of show me what you got before adding a Rasul Douglas at the end of the offseason, where they're able to plug up those band-aids. So I definitely like the way they addressed that. But let's talk about this matchup, man. Keys to victory. Give me your 3 keys to victory for the Dolphins to go ahead and be victorious week 1.
All right, so you want my 3 all at once, or we're gonna
Yeah.
alternate here?
No, give me your 3, and then I'll go right after you.
Okay. My first key of the game is limiting the turnovers. If you turn the ball over in this game, it's going to haunt them for sure. You got to value each possession. We see it from time and time and again with this squad. If they could just not turn over the ball and excel on every opportunity, I think they're going to be in good shape. Second one is get to Jones early. Rattle him right away, make him have to make off-script plays. Don't let him get into a rhythm early, and I think you're going to be just fine. I don't think he's going to affect you at all. And the third one is going to be, do not be predictable. It's, be efficient on your play calling. Keep this defense on their tiptoes at all times, and they're going to be just fine. I think this game, like I said, is a good matchup for Miami to get some confidence right out of the gate. But those 3 keys to me are pretty simple, because Miami struggles with those. If they could just be efficient, not turn the ball over, and do not be too predictable, they're going to be just fine. Because on paper and in reality, this is a much more talented team than Indianapolis. So I think they're pretty simple keys. and it's on them to execute.
I like it. I like it. My three keys are pretty simple as well, because I ultimately think that the Dolphins are a better football team than the Colts. It's close, but I think they're better if the Dolphins do what they're supposed to do. If you look at this team from top to bottom, if you look at the potential of what the Dolphins could do, the Dolphins should win this football game. Now, the question is, are they going to do those things? Is Mike McDaniel going to call the game the right way? Are we going to deal with an injury? I mean, that remains to be seen. But number one is obviously running game. Get the run game going. I mentioned earlier that we had 5.1 yards per carry for Achane last time these two teams met. I think you got to feed Achane a lot, but now use that secret weapon that you have in Ollie Gordon as well. Don't get too cute. Don't get too passive. Mike McDaniel has to stick to the run game if it's working. It's going to open up things later on in the game, but definitely a consistent run game will put you in position, because you can argue the way they were running last year, if Tua was in that game, you smoked the Indianapolis Colts. So get that
100%.
running game going. Second is, like you mentioned, is the pass rush. Bringing it to Daniel Jones to be able to have those turnovers. I mentioned that Daniel Jones is a guy that turns the football a lot. Now, we have a lot of different ways to generate pass rush. I mentioned earlier, Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb, Kenneth Grant, Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips, Matthew Judon. Sometimes you could see, we saw in the preseason, they had Chop, Chubb, and Phillips in the first play of the game, and they were picking up a sack. Get creative with these pass rushes. Use all of these guys. Don't put too much on just two guys or one guy. The fact that you're able to throw out all of these different types of people, it's going to be hell for Daniel Jones if executed correctly. And the third is exploit their cornerbacks. All right. This is a team that obviously went ahead and signed old Xavier Howard, who's been on the couch for over a year. This is a team who cut just a draft pick that was a second round draft pick that's now on our team from a couple years ago. They even worked out Mike Hilton. This is a team that obviously, by those things alone, show me that they're not comfortable with their cornerback room. You have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Go after their cornerbacks, because they obviously don't have too much faith in them. But it starts with doing those first two keys first, running the football. It'll open up things for Hill and Waddle. And if the Dolphins do that, I got the Dolphins winning, and I got the Dolphins winning this game 21-17. I would love to say more points, but I think with the running game, you're going to have probably less points if you do run the ball a lot more. So I got the Dolphins 21-17. What about you?
Yeah, so going over the schedule, I think, like I said, my expectations are not too big on this season, but I do see this as one of the games Miami will win. I have them winning this game 21-10. I think they will be having it really close for the first three quarters, and I think they will have a defensive touchdown in the fourth quarter to put the game away. So I do have a 21-10 victory for Miami on week 1.
Oh, I like that. So we're both in line with a week 1 victory for the Dolphins.
Absolutely. I think, especially if this is the season where you're on the hot seat, you can't, like, I'll always say it. Week 1 games could be must-win games. I will always stand on that. You have to win this game if you're serious about this season.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And I don't want to get too far ahead here, because obviously we're going to be doing these streams weekly, breaking down game by game. But when you look ahead at their schedule, that schedule gets really, really difficult in that second half of the season, where you're playing a gauntlet of teams mixed in with one freebie in New Orleans in there. That's it. But if you look at the beginning, you got the Colts, Patriots, Buffalo, the Jets, and the Panthers. There's a world where if you take care of what you're supposed to take care of, you can be 4-1 through the first 5 games of the season. But you have to capitalize on this freebie first. If you start off 0-1, I mean, it's going to be pretty hard for me to remain optimistic with the way this season goes. Definitely a must-win game, I would say. Early on, crazy to say, but I'm with you. You got to beat the Colts and Daniel Jones.
It's the same case as last year. Look at last year. They had Jacksonville, Buffalo, Seattle, Titans. They had all these easy wins or easy teams in the beginning. Buffalo looked like their only tough matchup in the first 6 weeks of the season last year. They only won 2 of them. So, you got to take care of business. And it for sure came to haunt them later in the season, that Titans game for a second year in a row. They missed the playoffs by 1 game. So you can't tell me these early games aren't must wins. Can't tell me that.
Definitely, definitely. Let me know you guys' predictions in the chat. Let me know if you think Finns win. We got Giannis says 31-13. We got IN with 28-21. Zell with a 31-10 Finns victory. So it looks like a lot of people are in favor of the Dolphins. And I think they definitely, that, like I said, it comes down to, are you going to do what you're supposed to do? If you do what you're supposed to do and don't get too cute with things, you're going to win this football game. That's what it comes down to, man.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm excited to see how they respond. A lot of chatter this offseason. I'm excited. The leading up to the last couple of weeks, I was not excited for this season at all, and I don't know, this excitement just kind of came out of nowhere. I'm like, you know what, football season, one of the best times of the year. Let's see what happens. So I'm
Yeah.
optimistic. Let's see them get a win. So,
Bro, and I think that's perfectly normal, man. Everybody
yeah,
can get excited for football no matter what, man. As bad as it is, think about it, bro. We've been Dolphin fans for so many damn years. Like we've had worse stretches than this last couple stretches. Like we're making playoffs every now and then. Before, we were going through stretches where we're not watching this team and we would miss the playoffs for 10 consecutive years. So
absolutely.
what it comes down to is, don't let them fool us to where we're predicting ahead of things happening, where we're already giving this team a Super Bowl contender like we were doing. No, we're definitely going to win the division. I think that's where we learned our lesson, but it's okay to be excited, Jacoby.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm just excited. This is the first year in 3 years where I'm not going to see them live. They don't come anywhere close to the West Coast this year, so I'm kind of sad about that. I've been to at least one game the last 3 years, and it's been awesome because they were like rarely on the West Coast growing up for me. So a little bummed, don't get to see them this year, but I'm still excited. And you know what? Maybe less travel is the best for this team to have a better outcome. So I'll take that.
Listen, maybe. So let's play a little game here before we touch on our fantasy football segment to wrap things up. So we're gonna go through awards for this Dolphins team. Basically, we're gonna tie in our expectations into these awards for this Dolphins team. Have a little fun with it. We're gonna go with our first award. Jacoby, who is your prediction to be the MVP of this Dolphins season?
So I definitely took a lot of thought into this one. And, I'm all about comebacks. The chatter's been there. This guy has something to prove.
Oh
And I
man.
think this team, if they're going to be successful, it's going to be done through the trenches, and it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball. I'm giving it to Bradley Chubb. I think
Woo!
he is going to come back and be this team's difference maker. Jalen Phillips, back-to-back season-ending injuries, might take some time. I think offsetting it with Chop on one side and Bradley on the other side, I think Bradley Chubb's going to make a huge impact, and I think he's going to be the guy for this team this year.
Oh man, that just got me excited, man. Woohoo! I love Bradley
I
Chubb,
hope
as you
so.
know. This is a guy who has stressed me the hell out, but I do love Bradley Chubb, and he was named the captain this year, man, for the first time in his Dolphins tenure, which is pretty damn awesome. Like, it
Yep.
shows you that he missed the entire season and he got voted captain. Like, that means that this dude is literally doing every single thing you want him to do when he's on and off the field, and that's a good example. So I like that you chose Bradley Chubb. I'm gonna go
Yep.
somewhere close to you, and it was a guy that you mentioned. I'm gonna go with Jalen Phillips, man. I really do think that Jalen
Wow.
Phillips has a season that is gonna be, I mean, very, very hard to ignore, man. I think he's gonna rack up double-digit sacks this season and have that breakout year that we've been waiting to see. He was kind of flirting with it a couple years before he got hurt. I know he has the injury issues, but a contract is almost due for him. And I think he's going to he's going to have a huge freaking season. And honestly, I think Chubb and him are both going to eat, along with Chop Robinson. But I got Jalen Phillips, double-digit sacks this year, as my MVP.
That me. I'm a Jalen Phillips guy first. I've
Yeah,
been since we got him.
you
Love
have.
the dude. I cried watching Hard Knocks when he tore his Achilles, man. I want everything to pan out for that guy for sure. If he was the MVP, I'd be ecstatic. But I'm gonna go with my gut. I think it's gonna take JP some time to get back into a rhythm. I'm not doubting him. If he does, great. But I'm gonna go with Chubb. I think Chubb's just been itching for almost 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's gonna be his year for sure.
Either way, we're in good
Yeah,
hands if
absolutely.
either one of them. All right, offensive player of the year. Who do you got for this one?
I think this one's a no-brainer. I think he's got the most chemistry with the quarterback right now. It's been his dude forever. I think this is Waddle's year. This is the year Waddle is going to take off. I think he's going to be our offensive player of the year. I think Mike McDaniel, I would be surprised if they don't try to involve him as the number one option this year. So I would be genuinely shocked. We heard a lot of chatter throughout the offseason about how he's looking in this offense. And I think with him and Tua probably having the most chemistry, especially with the dip with Tyreek, I think it's a no-brainer. Give me Jalen Waddle.
Absolutely, dude. It's a no-brainer to me as well. It's Jalen Waddle for the same reasons you mentioned, along with the chemistry that he's had with Tua. You got that all those rumblings about Tyreek Hill. If we move on from him, Waddle is the guy. I think he's ready for the opportunity. I think he has a huge season. And also, he has apparently developed juggling over the offseason that is helping him catch the ball and not drop passes. So that's a
Good.
good sign. And I think Jalen Waddle, I'm with you. He is the offensive player of the year for this Dolphins team. All right, defensive player.
Defensive player, I'm gonna stick with Chubb. I think he's gonna be the guy. He was the double win for me. But I think Bradley Chubb is not only going to be your defensive player of the year, but when I say MVP, is like he's going to make the most difference. He's going to have the most impact plays on defense. I think he's going to showcase all around. So I'm giving him both awards right there.
So you're giving it to, you said to Chubb?
To Bradley Chubb.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to give it to Jalen here. I'm gonna go with Minkah Fitzpatrick, man.
Okay.
Minkah Fitzpatrick we mentioned about the deficiencies with the defensive backs on this football team. I think Minkah's going to be in an area where he cleans up a lot of those messes that happen. Maybe some guys getting beat, and he's going to be able to save the day and make these kind of game-changing plays that'll probably win us maybe one game. I could definitely see that happening. And I think Minkah's overall presence back there can definitely put him in line for Defensive Player of the Year. I thought about Jordan Brooks, man. I almost went there, but I'm going to give it to Minkah because I think his impact helping those DBs is going to be more crucial for this Dolphins team.
No, yeah, I mean, it's kind of surreal. We're back with Minkah, man. It's kind of crazy how things just come back into full circle. So Minkah is someone I'm really excited about, and I don't know if I haven't just been too attuned with the media, but if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's even been like too flashy with the public. I'm like, I know that dude's in there just getting to work. That's just the type of player he is. This is the type of player Miami needs. So I'm so stoked he's back, and I'm excited to see him back in the Dolphins uniform for sure. So I'm excited to see what he does, especially under Weaver's system.
Absolutely. Miami Vibes, by the way, I absolutely love your name, by the way. Miami Vibes, salute to you. He says Willie Gay Jr. Interesting. Most improved player, Jacoby. I think we're probably going to go with the same player. Let's see.
Oh, really?
Let's see.
No, and so for my most improved player, I definitely gave that one to Jalen Phillips. Okay. I think he's gonna have a really good comeback. I think we're gonna see flashes from him that we probably haven't seen before. I think he's gonna, because Jalen Phillips' work ethic, his determination, and you just know that guy. Especially the adversity he had in college. I think he's gonna be the most improved player for sure. Especially, we saw him in glimpses under Weaver's system. It just sucks that it got taken away so quickly. I think it's going to benefit him tremendously, especially for a second straight year with a defensive coordinator. So I'm excited to see him. I definitely think he's going to be our most improved.
Okay, I like it. That it wasn't with the one I thought. So we are different here. I'm going to go with Malik Washington, man. Malik Washington has had a tremendous preseason, tremendous camp, and honestly has really gained that chemistry with Tua, man. They've connected so much throughout the preseason, especially in that last preseason game. We mentioned the connection with Tua and Waddle. I've seen a lot of the same things with Tua and Malik Washington this offseason that can give me optimism going forward, man. The dude is able to do a lot of different things. He's able to return kicks, return punts, catch screens, catch slants, make people miss, and really get those yards after catch. So I see Malik Washington being the most improved player on this Dolphins team. And I think he has a nice role, especially if Tyreek Hill does get moved at the trade deadline. He steps into wide receiver too. Malik Washington is showing me a lot of things, man.
Yeah, I hope so, because this team has just been in desperate need of a third option for a few years now. And I think Malik can definitely step into that role. We just really haven't seen him be utilized. We haven't really seen him, his glimpses and his potential, other than probably some preseason games. So I would love to see it. Like I would love to see it for sure, and I think that's a solid pick.
All right, let's see. Keep it on moving. Guys, by the way, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up button to support the show. Jacoby and I will be here every Wednesday, right here, same time, previewing the Dolphins game. Jacoby, rolling along. Rookie of the year. You got options here. You got Kenneth Grant. You got Jonah Savaiinaya. You got, I don't think it's going to be Quinn Ewers. You got Ollie Gordon in there. Jason Marshall Jr. A lot of these rookies are going to be getting reps now. Which rookie are you choosing to win?
Yeah, I like how you say Quinn Ewers, because like I didn't pick him, but like I wish, because like I'm not the biggest Tua guy. Everyone knows it,
Come
and I
on,
just feel
Jacoby.
like he could definitely step in there and make an impact. But I didn't pick him for sure. No, I did pick Jonah Savaiinaya. I think he's going to be stepping into a really good opportunity for him to establish himself as a really, really solid lineman for Miami at the guard position. So, I was watching his highlights, didn't know much about him, watched some highlights, liked what I saw, and definitely. And you know what? With Kenneth, I thought Kenneth Grant would have been too easy of a pick, because I think he does have potential there in the defense. But I wanted to give the line some love. I got faith in this dude. I did watch some. I knew nothing about him when he got drafted. Watched some videos. Love the size. I think he could be great for us. So I'm gonna give him my confidence. I'm gonna say Jonah Savaiinaya.
I like it. I like it. Now we have a lot of good rookies that honestly,
We do. This
you
was
know,
a good draft class. This was
definitely. So I thought long and hard about this one. I was gonna go with Ollie Gordon because I really like what I've seen. But then if I'm picking Ollie Gordon, that's me trusting Mike McDaniel to utilize him. And quite frankly, I just don't have that confidence. Other than that, if I knew that I was going to get a certain percentage of snaps for Ollie Gordon, I would pick him in this situation. Jason
that was kind of
Marshall.
what it came down to for me too. It was,
Yeah, man.
I
just don't know. We can't trust
especially
Mike.
if Achane like I have so much confidence in Achane, so I feel like if Ollie Gordon's gonna be rookie of the year, that means Achane either got hurt or he had a drop off in production. I think as long as Achane's healthy, he's going to continue to be that guy for Miami, and Ollie Gordon can come in and provide those like short yard gains or the goal line gains. So I definitely feel you on that. That's kind of what it came down to for me with Ollie Gordon.
Bro, and it comes down to a point where if I'm gonna be completely honest, even if HN were to miss time, I don't even have faith that McDaniel even gives Ollie Gordon that many carries. This is when he'll probably elevate Jeff Wilson and give Jeff Wilson more carries. Yep. I would not put it past them, to be honest.
I would not do. I would bet my whole savings on that. Absolutely.
Jason Marshall, the cornerback, he's going to be guarding the slot position. I think there's going to be growing pains that this guy goes through throughout the season, so I'm not going to pick him, but I do think the repetitions for him are good this year. I like that he's going to get the reps and improve. I'm going to go with the safe pick in Kenneth Grant. I think he's going to be the best rookie this season. The fact that this is a big boy here. And you talk about that front where, listen, you're probably going to see a lot of one-on-one. And I've seen him throw people around in college. Obviously, the pros are a different thing, but it's a big boy we're talking about. I think he's really going to take advantage of how much pressure the guys around him are probably going to, be able to cause there. Take advantage of those one-on-ones and give me Kenneth Grant to be the rookie of the year for this Dolphin season.
No, I think that's a great pick. And I think, to me, like I told you, I thought that was too safe of a pick for me. I think Kenneth Grant is definitely going to make a huge impact for this team on the defensive end. But, if this team is going to be successful, if this team is going to win games, definitely on the defensive side. But if the offense has any chance of excelling, it's going to start on that O-line. And I think Savaiinaya is stepping into a really good opportunity. So I'm going to roll with him. I'm going to give him my faith. So that's for sure.
All right. For a negative here, most disappointing player in your opinion?
Yeah. I think this one was a slam dunk. I think Darren Waller is going to be your most disappointing player. I was like, oh, absolutely. I don't see this guy playing more than 4 games. I see this being an exact situation like Odell Beckham. And I was like, yeah, that's just too easy. Like, I don't see this guy playing much. And if he does, he's not going to make an impact at all. And we're going to see a lot of Julian Hill. So that's what we're going to find ourselves in. So I just think that was easiest question. Like,
It
yeah,
was
it's gotta be him.
absolute layup. 100% agree. I mean, now Mike McDaniel is saying, "Oh yeah, he's almost there. He's clear. He's fine." It's
Yeah,
so much like yo-yo back and forth, and now it winds up that he has a hip injury all of a sudden. Like,
yeah.
listen, man, we've been through this before. It is what it is. Maybe Frank Smith, the OC, is really cool with him, and they wanted to get him a little paycheck to help him out with his off the field situation. Whatever it is, most disappointing player. Darren Waller until you show me otherwise.
I mean, we saw the same thing with Jason Sanders. Oh, he's going to be fine. It's very temporary. He's going to be
yeah,
practicing next week, and then he's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
yeah. It's like, can you just tell
It's
us?
absolutely like we'll never get the truth from that guy.
Never. Season record for the Dolphins. I guess from how many wins do you see this Dolphins team win?
Yeah, so I see this season being a 7-10 record. Do not have a lot of confidence in this being sustainable, and I think definitely there's a great chance they can move a lot of pieces if they don't have a lot of wins by the trade deadline. I think that could happen, but I don't think I based my record off if they keep this roster the entire year, but I see a 7-10 record.
All right. At least you're honest.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
I'm
I think it's realistic. You
yeah.
got a tough schedule. You're in a very tough division. You know, we'll see if this team can even, fight off the other opponents in the East because, like I said, I think you have the worst coach in the division now, and we've seen Mike McDaniel just get bullied left and right in
Yeah.
terms of being outcoached. So, we're gonna find out what he's made of this year for sure.
All right. I'm gonna shock you a little bit, man, but I actually see this Dolphins team.
Don't do this to me. Do not do it, dude.
I see this Dolphins team winning 10 games, man.
You're crazy, dude. You're so crazy.
Listen, man. 10 wins for this football team. Listen, here's the thing. This season always, just like the Dolphins, it's always if, right? If Tua stays healthy, if the offensive line stays healthy, if the Mike McDaniel does the right play calls, if the running back. I honestly think the way this team is constructed, as is, if there's no injuries, then that's what I'm going to judge this prediction on. All right. Because obviously anything can happen. And the way our luck is, it probably will happen. But I'm going to go based on the team healthy. I am comfortable with the offensive line. I am comfortable with Tua being a successful quarterback. When he's the starter and he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle alongside with him and Devon Achane, I've seen some good things happen. It all comes to the question of the offensive line. Adding James Daniels to the offensive line, Patrick Paul, who's took a step up, Jonas Savaiinaya, and Aaron Brewer look pretty damn good as a front five. I like that with Austin Jackson. The defense, I'm trusting Anthony Weaver to double up on another great defensive season. You have a lot of weapons to play with in that front seven. You got Minka holding down in case things, hit the fan on the back end. If this Dolphins team, just as is, now they have to do that, and they have to take advantage of those first 5 games. You have to start the season 4-1 by beating the Colts, beating the Patriots. I'll let you lose against Buffalo. Okay. That's going to happen. Beat the Jets and beat the Panthers. That's 4 winnable games right there. Start off 4-1, and then you have to go. If I have that being the start, which I do, then that means they just have to go 6 and 6 the rest of the way.
Yeah, 6-6.
I think that's doable. So I'm going to say this Dolphins record is going to be 10 wins. I might get disappointed, but listen, I've been through worse.
It's not the fact that you'll get disappointed. I'm just like, have you not learned yet? Especially under this.
What I'm saying is that
I get it.
If it always comes down to the if with this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if everything is the way it's supposed to, this team is capable of winning 10 wins. But the thing is, I know the reality is we get hurt and somebody goes down and Mike McDaniel plays like an idiot. If I'm controlling this team in Madden, I'm getting 10 wins.
Okay. I like it.
All right. Playoffs? Yes or no?
No. I don't even think they'll be in the picture. I think maybe they'll win a couple of games towards the end, but I don't think so. Not at all.
Yeah. For me, I think the AFC looks pretty damn good this season again. I think it's going to come down to one of those tiebreaker situations. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to have that, so it's unfair to me to answer that. I think it's probably going to come down to a tiebreaker if I have them winning 10 games. But if I have them winning a playoff game this season, I'm going to unfortunately say no on that one.
Gotcha. Yeah. Um, that's what's the harsh reality about the AFC is 10 wins is probably not at all enough. So, that it definitely it could if it gets that close, you're probably gonna have to win 11 to 12 games for sure. So, but yeah, even if they did make the playoffs, I would say the matchups are going to be too overwhelming for sure. So I think it's going to be a same repeat, just a wild card appearance. But who knows? Maybe the script flips, but we're
Listen,
just being realistic here.
at the end of the day, Jacoby, us as Dolphin fans are finally playing with house money. Either Tyreek balls and McDaniel does his thing, and we go ahead to the playoffs and win 10 games over here, or Mike McDaniel sucks. We get rid of Mike McDaniel. We give Anthony Weaver the keys. We change this culture at the end of this season, heading into next season. We don't have to worry about contracts. Tyreek will be out of here, and like we're playing with house money. Either things go good or we're resetting the right way, which is good. We're not in the middle. There's direction here, and it's going to be telling the way this season goes. Like we're going to be able to pivot. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited for this team.
Absolutely. And I me, I always just keep it real, what I trust my gut in. And this team, just like my other teams, have just taught me to just be in the low expectation realm, and you won't get heartbroken. So we're gonna see. But I'm just excited it's back, and let's just see what happens. And yes, that comment couldn't be more correct.
Zell says, didn't y'all play with house money in
Yep.
2023? Listen, man, you could say that, but we're not talking about the past. We're talking about the present now. All right,
Bro,
so
2023, I predicted the exact what was it? The exact outcome of the season. I said it's going to come down to that Buffalo game in the division, and Miami's going to get ripped out from home. I just see it coming, and sure enough, it still happened after having a 3-game lead in the division. Like that, I was like, wow. So,
Jacoby, we're not touching on 2023,
yeah.
man. Let's not. No.
No. You know what? I tell everybody that story, man. I'm like, go back and watch the pod. I'm like, dude, I was losing. I was broken.
No, listen, we are not talking about 2023 in here.
Yeah.
All right, that was awesome. Let's go into our fantasy football segment here. We're running up here almost at the 1 hour mark. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you guys have fantasy questions throughout, please ask those questions. We'll try to answer them. And subscribe to the channel, as I mentioned, and hit that thumbs up button, please, to support the channel. It will help us tremendously. All right, fantasy football segment here with our stardom sit-ems by Jacoby. I guess you're starting with your quarterbacks, and how you feeling about fantasy this year?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Like the outcome of my roster, especially the one in your league. I really like it. Won another championship last year. Not in the league I was in with you, but it's my second year in a row winning a championship. It sucks to say it, but Josh Allen carried me to a championship. So I'm gonna just take that and run with it. At least I got some money out of last season. So
Shame on you.
feeling pretty good. I love it's always fantasy time. Always excited for it, and ready to do another year of trying to help you guys and help you guys bring some wins back. And I'm excited. And yes, I will be starting with my quarterbacks.
Talk to me.
Starting at quarterback, especially after the big trade, I think a perfect start for you is definitely going to be Jalen Hurts against Dallas. I think after losing Micah Parsons, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be in store for at least a couple. I think he's going to get a couple rushing touchdowns. And I think he's going to be probably my favorite start this week. Absolutely. Especially, I think the defending champs are going to have all the hype and all the buzz at home. And I think he's going to put up the most numbers for sure. And my second stardom is going to be Jaden Daniels against the New York Giants. I see Washington jumping on New York early. I see Jaden Daniels getting a few passing touchdowns, especially with additions like Deebo Samuel. Really excited to see what Washington does this year. So I think those are my two favorite stardoms of the week, and I hope you guys have definitely stocked up on the Jalen Hurts start, especially if you are in a double flex league with the quarterbacks. I think that's a perfect situation. Now going to sits, this one. I feel like you have to start him because if you drafted him, you probably drafted him in the first 2 rounds. But I hate Josh Allen's matchup this week. He played Baltimore twice last year and didn't surpass over 180 yards and only had 1 total touchdown in those two games. So I think Josh Allen is going to definitely struggle against Baltimore. Not giving you like I know he's a rival, not getting hate to the reigning MVP, but I think Baltimore definitely has his number, and I think they'll definitely be in store for him, especially week one of the season. Baltimore's always fresh on the defensive end, so I don't like that start at all. And then going on to Sam Darnold, new opportunity in Seattle, coming off a huge career season in Minnesota. Hate the matchup against the 49ers. Sam Darnold definitely struggled in those high pressured defenses, and I think he's gonna be pretty mediocre. I think San Francisco's going to jump on them pretty good, and I think those are two easy sit-ems for the quarterbacks.
I like it, man. I mean, huge big take out of the rip with Josh Allen, but it's definitely understandable taking against being against that Ravens defense, and like you mentioned, not being able to have too much success in the past. I'm with you, and guys, also these are stardom sit-ems, and this is just Jacoby saying the guys that he does like and the guys who he really doesn't like. All right. So obviously you might take these quarterbacks in the first, second, third round, and you're like,
and you might not have a choice, but
you might,
just
yeah.
my opinion.
but it's just Jacoby's opinion. So you just take it from a guy who's won back-to-back fantasy championships. Like, if you really want us to say who's the sit-em, I mean, you want him to say Bryce Young out here?
Yeah.
We want to have some fun with this thing. So keep that in mind. So Jacoby, what about your running backs?
Yeah, going back over to Philly, I think Saquon Barkley, especially against the Dallas front now that's now missing Micah Parsons. I'm taking any running back going up against Dallas. I think Eagles are going to put this game away pretty early, and I think Saquon's going to lead the team in rushing attempts, and he's definitely going to get you a touchdown. So I think Saquon is an easy start. Saquon's been getting some flack in fantasy this year. I don't know why his stock has been taking such a hit, but I think he's going to be a perfect starter for the running backs. Going over to Indianapolis, going to give Jonathan Taylor the start. I think he's going to get a touchdown against Miami. And with Anthony Richardson as his quarterback, Jonathan Taylor only averaged about 1.3 receptions, I read. But any other quarterback he's played with, he did average more than 2 receptions a game. So I think, especially in PPR leagues, I think Jonathan Taylor will get some checkdowns for sure from Daniel Jones. And if Miami's going to have the game, I think they're gonna look to get him more involved. Indianapolis will definitely have to throw more, and I think Daniel Jones could definitely check it down to Jonathan Taylor a lot, especially in PPR leagues. I think Jonathan Taylor will give you a solid week.
All right.
Go to my sit-ems, going back over to Baltimore. I know I'm staying in the vicinity here, but I do not like James Cook at all this week, especially with the long sit out he had over his contract, and especially going up against a very scary Baltimore defense. I hate it. I hate the matchup completely. And I think if Baltimore stomps on Buffalo pretty good, they're going to look to get the passing game going from Josh Allen, or Josh Allen might take over completely with his legs. So I don't like the matchup at all for James Cook, especially with the sit out. We see it all the time. These players that sit out over contracts, they have slow starts to the seasons. So I don't like it at all. And then if you have this guy on your roster, I also hate this one against really good Denver defense. Tony Pollard, I think that's an easy sit. I think Tennessee is going to be, Cam Ward, all he talks about is Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to go to him a lot, especially choosing over Tony Pollard on checkdowns. I think Cam Ward's going to look to get Ridley involved pretty easily. So I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to start Pollard at all. I think that, because I think I see Denver winning this game, and I think Cam Ward and the Titans will be throwing a lot. So I think that's an easy setup.
And this is a good time to bring this up. So we're in a league together, everybody, and Jacoby was the pick right before me. And it was a situation where I'm looking at this particular guy that I've been circling in every single mock draft. And Jacoby ends up taking him right before me and led me to ultimately having to pick Tony Pollard, unfortunately. And that guy is David Montgomery. So screw you, Jacoby. Because of you, I had a plan where I said, I'm about to go and I'm going to take David Montgomery and Pacheco, and instead I end up with Pollard and Pacheco, which I'm not too happy about. So,
dude, I feel like I feel like I always swoop on somebody you want.
I'm like, damn it, man! Like, and I'm like that. I was like, because I know you liked them last year too. I'm like,
Montgomery is Mr. Reliable. You can't ever go wrong with him, dude.
And I said Jacoby's gonna take him. Jacoby's gonna take him.
And
I think were you the one that took Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I took
So
Kyler as
yeah,
well.
you sniped me twice because that was I said, oh, this is my chance. I'm gonna get either Knicks or Kyler. Whoever's there, I'm cool. And then Knicks got taken, and then I'm like, okay, just one more pick. Jacoby, Kyler. I'm like, nah, I had to settle for Dak Prescott. Wish me luck, everybody.
Oh, shoot, dude.
All right, wide
I do wish you
receivers.
luck.
Wide
Okay,
receivers.
going on to my wide receivers for my stardoms. I think CeeDee Lamb. I think you got to stock up on Dallas offense right now because they're going to be throwing the ball like crazy. I think Dak Prescott has a great chance of averaging more than 36 attempts a week. And I think CeeDee Lamb's stock has just risen completely. I think that defense is going to be an absolute mess, and Dallas is going to be out of a lot of ball games. So I think they're just going to look to force feed on offense and the receiving. So I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a great week this week in terms of PPR leagues. I think he has a chance to get over 9 receptions. So I think that's an easy start. And then going on to Malik Neighbors, my second stardom. Okay. Love this pick because, you look at what Malik Neighbors did, dude. He, with poor quarterback play, the guy was averaging more than 6 receptions a game. It was an easy stardom each week in fantasy. It was definitely in the top 10. Love it. He's got a better quarterback than Daniel Jones this year. Love the start. And if you got Malik Neighbors, I think you're going to be in good shape this year.
Love both of those picks.
Yep. Going on to my situms, I think they're pretty simple. Do not like JSN's matchup this week against San Francisco. I think the Seattle offense is going to take some time to settle in. New quarterback, second year with Mike McDonald. We'll see what he does over there in Seattle. But I think JSN settling into this new wide receiver one role with the departure of DK Metcalf. I think it's going to take some time. I think Cooper Kupp will definitely get probably a better game this week out of him. I think San Francisco's definitely going to take JSN out of the game. So don't like the start at all. And also going on to Terry McLaurin. And I think he's going to get some points as well, but he definitely had a bit of a sit out as well over his contract. But good to see him staying in Washington. But with these sit out guys, don't like it. I think he'll definitely get you some points, maybe 10 or 11 points. But if you have better options, definitely take him.
Yeah, and Terry McLaurin also struggled in those couple games against the Giants last year for what it's
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
Definitely love those 2 picks for wide receivers. Those are the 2 wide receivers that I myself am betting on. So I actually really, really like those picks. Both Malik Neighbors against Washington, and Washington gave up a ton of touchdowns to wide receivers last year. So Malik Neighbors, and then obviously Philadelphia also gave up a lot of touchdowns to wide receivers as well. Pretty solid defense when it comes to generating pressure and all, but they did give up a lot of touchdowns on the receiving end. So I like that CeeDee Lamb pick as well.
Absolutely. Now going on to my tight ends. I picked Mr. Reliable over here in his one game against Seattle last year. Had 5 receptions on 6 targets, and he had 2 receiving touchdowns. It's Brock Purdy's only weapon pretty much right now with the injuries and the departures for San Francisco. Give me George Kittle. I see him putting up 25 plus against that Seattle defense. Love the matchup, and I think Purdy's going to look to him a lot. So definitely go to George Kittle. Second one is going to be the guy from Detroit. It's going to be Mr. Sam Laporta. I think he's got a pretty good matchup this week. Sorry, my notes are loading against Green Bay. I think definitely Green Bay's defense is definitely going to present a challenge to Detroit, but I think Detroit has the potential to run this stuff back again this year. And you're going to see a bounce back from Laporta. Didn't have as much production this past year compared to 2023, and I definitely see Detroit getting him back more involved on the offensive end. Like the matchup, I'm going to give him a 15-point plus week for sure.
Nice.
And then going to my sits, I think they're pretty simple. Do not like Mark Andrews. His matchup against Buffalo struggled in both games against them last year. Mark Andrews has been slipping in production the last couple of years. So due to the struggle in the matchup, I went with Mark Andrews. And then going on to my second one, he's actually not being rostered in a lot of leagues, and that's going to be Dallas Goedert. I think Philadelphia is definitely going to look to their main 2 weapons and then go to Saquon the rest of the game. So I think those are pretty easy sit-ems. So those are my stardom sit-ems for week 1. Obviously, I'm going to get more accurate with them as matchups, and we see how defense presents. But going off matchups and production from last year, I think I feel pretty confident.
I like those picks. Listen, guys, it's a back-to-back fantasy champion, man. If you're looking for advice, You know where to find it. So we do have 2 questions over here. We have Trevor Lawrence going against the Carolina Panthers this week. Would you actually consider him over Josh Allen?
It's a tough one because like I said, it's hard to sit Allen, but I think Allen is definitely going to struggle against Baltimore. You said Carolina Panthers, it really just depends the rest of your team. If you got solid weapons, I think you can afford to do it because I think Josh Allen's production is going to be less than 10 this week. So if you got solid productions or you need the boost, probably would just take the risk on Allen, but because you never know, Allen could break out for 2 goal line touchdowns if every time, they're going to go for him on those short yard gains, and he could go in for a touchdown anytime. But it really just depends. But I would feel more comfortable with T-Law, especially with the new coach and Brian Thomas Jr. over there. Love the matchup, but Allen against Baltimore scares me, especially what he did last year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the matchup is better for Trevor Lawrence against the Carolina Panthers, especially with those weapons with Brian Thomas going into another season. You have Travis Etienne that could catch out of the backfield. They have 2 in back there that can catch out of the backfield as well, who they really like. And they have Travis Hunter. They want to implement him. They're probably going to want him to score a touchdown. But then again, Josh Allen could have a bad game now, and he can still get you 2 1-yard quarterback sneaks in there. So it's kind of hard, but I do like the Trevor Lawrence matchup, but it'll be kind of scary sitting Josh Allen, and I can understand that.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it really just depends how my team is shaped. If I have good weapons everywhere else, I'm probably going to go with T-Law for sure. So, or go, no, yeah, if I have good weapons everywhere else, I'll take the risk with Allen. But if I know I'm going to for sure need some production out of that quarterback spot, probably going to take the safer choice.
And then we have Philly Mike OG. I don't know if this is accurate. He says T. Higgins to the Chiefs. I don't know if that...
I saw that earlier. I didn't see anything on Twitter, so
yeah, I'm unsure.
That would have been crazy for sure.
I don't have the phone near me, but I don't know if that's correct. I don't think that would happen.
I'm on X right now. I don't see anything.
Nothing.
So,
okay, yeah. Then that'll... somebody's trying to play us there. All right. Would you consider sitting DK Metcalf?
Yeah. I really don't like this Pittsburgh offense. Don't really have any faith in Aaron Rodgers as well. I think that's a safe sit. I would want to see this offense first, but again, you probably won't have a choice, depending on your team. So if you have better options, for sure, but I want to see this Pittsburgh offense first.
DK Metcalf was a guy that I was avoiding at all costs, even if he was right there in my lap, man. I just don't like the vibes out of the Aaron Rodgers run football team with his age right now. And also Arthur Smith as OC. I mean, give me a break. Listen, that is avoid at all costs, man. But that'll do it. That'll wrap up the show, guys. Thanks again for chiming in and tuning in. Like I said, please hit the thumbs up button to support the channel to help the algorithm. And subscribe. We'll be here every Wednesday previewing the Dolphins games for the week and Jacoby giving fantasy football advice. Jacoby, any last words before we get on out of here?
No, thanks again for having me. I'm excited. 3rd straight year. I certainly plan to be here for the entire season, and hopefully we're talking about a 1-0 start for the 3rd straight year. So let's do it.
Let's do this. Both of us have the Dolphins winning. Have a great rest of the week. Go Dolphins, everybody.